Hello, welcome to the IT Academy. In this video, we will be looking at the first lesson in learning Microsoft Excel. When you start Microsoft Excel, this is the first screen that you're going to see. You can see that the screen is divided into two parts. The left side with a green background and then the right side. Now, where you go will depend on exactly what you want to do. Because on the left side is a list of the files that you have recently opened. The files you opened today, yesterday, maybe even up to last week, they're all listed here. So if you want to open any of these old files, all you have to do is just click once on them and they are open so you can work on them. On the other hand, if you want to create a fresh Excel worksheet, you have to go to the right side. Then when you get there, there are two options for you. You either create a blank workbook or you work with templates. Now, a workbook is the name we call an Excel document. So an Excel file is a workbook. And then if you want a blank workbook, you just double click on it and it gives you a blank workbook. Then you have to type in everything that you need. On the other hand, if you want to use a template is a pre-designed Excel worksheet which you can customize to meet your own needs. For instance, if you want to create a sales report, you don't have to start from the scratch. There are ready-made sales reports that you can open. All you have to do is feed in your own data to this ready-made table. But for the purpose of this video, we are going to start from the scratch so that you learn how to do everything. Okay, so we want to start from the scratch and then we double click on Excel blank workbook. So I double click on it and then it opens. We now see the familiar Excel screen. So on this screen, one of the most significant things that you can see is the ribbon. The ribbon is the horizontal bar, the rectangular bar on top of the screen. You can see here, that is the ribbon. Now this ribbon contains all the menu items you need to work with Excel. For whatever task you have to carry out, every menu item you will need is here. The ribbon is further subdivided into tabs. So this is the ribbon area. And then we have tabs. You have the File tab, Home tab, Insert tab, Page Layout, Data. Now each time you click on a tab, a fresh set of menu items will appear here. So page layout, all the items you need for a page layout will be displayed. When you go to data, everything about data will now show in the same space. Okay, so let's take a look at each of these tabs and see what they are used for. The first one is the File tab. Now when you click on the File tab, it means you want to do something with files. You want to work with files. So I click on it and it gives me all the options here. These are all the things that I can do with files. I can click on Info to get information about the file. I can click on New to create a new file, Open to open an existing file, to save what I'm working with. And then I can also go to print the document. So these are all the options that you have when you want to work with files. Okay, you can also click on Close and it will close the file. It will not close Excel, but the file you're working with will be closed. So that is the File tab. And then when you go to the Home tab, this is where you have the most commonly used menu items in Excel. For instance, if you want to change the font of the text you are working with, this is where you have to come. If you want to align your text left, right, center, top or below, this is where you come. You also want to format numbers, add currency signs. This is where you go to the Home tab. And then when you come to the Insert tab, this is where you have a list of all the items that you can insert into your Excel worksheet. You can insert a chart, you can insert a picture, you can insert a hyperlink or a text box. There are so many items here that you can insert into your Excel worksheet. And then we go to page layout. The page layout, this is where you control how your page will look on the screen as well as on the sheet of paper it will be printed on. Here you can set the margins of the work. Okay, you can also change the orientation to either portrait or landscape. You can change the size. This is where you decide what size of paper are you going to print this document on. If it's going to be A4, you select A4, and then if it's going to be A3, you select it here. And then this is where you also select the background of the Excel worksheet, and there are so many options here for you to control the look of your Excel worksheet on the screen as well as on paper. And then you have to come to when you come to formulas, this contains all the menu items that you need when you want to create and manage formulas. Okay, then you go to data. Now when you come to data, when you have a lot of records. Here we have items that will help you manage records, large numbers of records. We have options that can help you sort your records in alphabetical or numerical order. You can filter data. You can do a whole lot of things here. So this is where we come when we want to manage records or large amounts of data. And then when you go to review, as the name implies, you probably have finished your work and you want to go over to review. You have the spell check here, you have the dictionary, you have a translate where you'll be able to translate your documents into another language. Here you can also protect the sheet from unauthorized entry. Okay, so that is the review. Then view is where you control how your Excel worksheet looks on the screen. And then when you come to developer, this is where you can create automated actions or macros. We're going to do all that in due course. So these tabs are here. They all contain different menu items that you can work with. Now we had the ribbon, and inside the ribbon you had the tabs. Now inside the tabs you have groups. Now let me show you one example. If you go to the home tab, there are groups. You see, this is the font groups. That means all the menu items that are related to fonts are grouped together, and the boundaries are demarcated by a vertical line on the left and right side of it. You have the alignment group, all the items that are related to carrying out alignments. And you have the number group, all the items that you need to format your numbers. So these are groups together. Okay, so every tab has got different groups. Like I go to insert, this is illustrations where you insert pictures, shapes, and among other things. And you also have the chart group where the different kinds of charts will be displayed. Now inside every group, or most of the groups, you have something called a dialog box launcher. You see, let's say you have this font group. There are so many items here, but there are even more items and they cannot all fit here. So some are hidden here. All you have to do is click on this little arrow here at the bottom right of any group where you find it. You click there and then you see even more items for you to manage your worksheets with. When you go to alignments, there are even more items here. Okay, so despite managing the space, most of the things, or not all of the menu items, went inside. Okay, so now that is the ribbon. Now let's go to the worksheet. Like I said before, an Excel document is called a workbook. Now inside a workbook we have worksheets. When you start the document, it comes with one worksheet. So you can see here sheet 1. When you need to, you can add more sheets. All you have to do is click on this plus sign. So I click on it, sheet 2 will come, 3, 4, 5. You can create a lot of sheets, and in each sheet you can work. For instance, I have this sheet here. You see, I've done something here. I can come here and do something else here. The sheets are independent of each other, but it can be connected through formula. Okay, you can create a formula that calculates data that are located in different sheets. So these are the sheets, or they are called the sheet tabs. Okay, so that is the sheets and the sheet tabs. Then one other thing that you have in an Excel worksheet is obviously the rows and the columns. The rows are the spaces that are horizontally oriented, you can see, and they are identified by numbers. This is row 1. It goes all the way to the end. This is row 7. Okay, these are the rows, and there are about 1,000,000+ rows in your worksheet. And then you come to columns. The columns are identified by letters. So this is column K, and then you have column A, and then you have column F. Okay, so we have the rows and then we have the columns. The next thing that comes is cells. Now a cell is an intersection between a row and a column. So this box here, this is a cell. It is part of column K, and it is part of row 7. So it is cell K7. We say that is the cell reference, or the name of the cell. If I click here, you see, you don't have to always visually trace it. Wherever you click, there is a box here called the name box. Wherever you click, the name will appear. We actually call it the cell reference. So the cell reference for this cell is A1. The cell reference for this is G5. So it all appears in the name box. Okay, so that is that. And then you also have scroll bars. Now if you have a lot of data on your screen, some might possibly be located off the immediate visible areas. So you can have, let me just make it, I want to create this so that we'll be able to use the scroll bars. You see, this is very long. So to go up and down, I need the scroll bar. I can drag it up and down. This is the vertical scroll bar. And then when you come down, if the work you are doing extends beyond the screen horizontally, you also have the horizontal scroll bar. This is it at the bottom here. I can drag it right and left. So that is the horizontal scroll bar. And then we come to the status bar. Now the status bar is a very interesting item on an Excel worksheet. You see it here. There's nothing here right now except the word ready. So if I click in a cell, it tells me ready. That means it's ready to receive input from me. So I have to type something. So I type 1, 2, 3, 4. While I am typing, the status changes to enter. That means I've typed something inside, so it wants me to press enter. So when I press enter, it changes to ready. It's ready for new input from me. Okay, so that is that. But there's more to do with the the status bar. One of the most useful things you can do with the status bar is to calculate figures. For instance, if I have a group of numbers here, okay, I want to sum these numbers. I want to calculate these numbers in some form. When I highlight the numbers, you can see on the status bar, it has calculated the average. The average of all these numbers selected is 6112.8, and it has counted them. There are 6 numbers. It gives me the minimum. So the smallest number there is 54, and maximum, the biggest number there is 34,000. Okay, so once you highlight, if I highlight just these 3, it's going to calculate just those 3. Okay, now you can control how this calculation is done. To do that, you simply go to the status bar and right click. You see all the items are here. You see average is here, count is here. I'm going to remove average. You know, it calculated the average. I'm removing all these options, and then I want it to count the numbers. I want it to sum the numbers and then give me the largest number, the maximum. So once I have checked these, whenever I highlight a group of numbers, it's going to calculate that. You see count, it counted the numbers, it gave me the maximum, the biggest number in all, and then it summed up the numbers. Okay, so in case you just want to quickly do a little calculation, all you have to do is simply highlight the group of numbers and then you have your figures calculated for you. Okay, all right, so this was a brief introduction to Microsoft Excel for a new user. I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, please give it a thumbs up, like it. I want you to also comment and let's have a conversation. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. When you subscribe, you will get more IT training videos. Thank you and bye for now.